Good morning. I'm going to kick it off for a couple minutes, just give you a little bit of context about what the North Suburban Consortium consists of, and then I'll be turning it over to Kent Hanson and to Jeff to talk a little bit about what it means particularly for their organizations too. So you can see the schools listed that are part of this consortium. And this is really new. We basically had talked in concept about doing something like this for probably the last year or so. But it's only within the last couple of months that we finally were able to pull it together. And you know, the reason for doing this is really around the concept, as it states, of coordinated uniqueness. And that may have a little bit of an oxymoronic sound to it, but for us it made a lot of sense because the basic guiding principle of it was this, that Mounds view, we've had a working relationship, a really, really great working relationship with Anoka-Ramsey Community College for about the last 3-4 years. And one of the things that we had found as we were talking North Suburban wise is that a number of us, or a number of the other districts involved in this, had been trying to develop similar kinds of relationships with other schools. And you know, a major problem, and I think it's a problem that we all want to see addressed, is the fact that there's so much inconsistency between the two-year colleges in terms of how they view concurrent enrollment, how they view dual enrollment, and some of the components of it, that what we decided to do was to say, okay, would Anoka-Ramsey consider bringing the other districts together under the same agreement that we had, that Mounds had with Anoka-Ramsey? And basically that's what we did. Now, in doing that, it doesn't mean that everybody is doing the same thing. What it means is that each district can work with Anoka-Ramsey to find the best way to implement a concurrent, a dual enrollment kind of program with them. However, what they don't have to worry about, they don't have to worry about inconsistency in terms of how the two-year, in this case Anoka, is going to respond to them. That's all fixed, that's all in place. What isn't fixed and what's flexible is what they actually do with it. So that's what's behind the coordinated uniqueness part of this and why we wanted to bring a partnership together. The next slide, I'll turn it over to Kent Hanson, talk a little bit about what this approach means for Anoka-Ramsey.
Thank you. Good morning. So this relationship is really all about the students. And I personally have a very strong interest in helping students early getting lined up with college. I myself went to college and made the best choice possible. I followed my friends, and it didn't work out too good in the first place. I was kind of like the John Belushi character there for a couple of years until I figured out what I wanted to do. And I ended up going to a hospital-based program in X-ray tech after I had a lot of fun for 2 years at North Dakota State University and trying to figure out where I wanted to be. And so once I found X-ray as a career choice, my career trajectory went up and up and up, and I kept going back to school, getting further degrees, and then ultimately being a college president. So really it's about the students, and this relationship is about them and their success. Obviously for Anoka-Ramsey, we'd like to not only engage those students before they're done with graduation from high school, but after as well. I'm the president of Anoka-Ramsey and Anoka Technical College, and together these two institutions represent the largest two-year college in the state with about 16,000 students. A lot of our student body is, I don't have the exact percentage, but we do have a lot of concurrent enrollment students and PSEO students that help contribute to the size of our institution and not only for the current students, but those students coming back to us. And because of our size of the institution, we do favor pretty well with the funding formula that's part of the MNSCU allocation model. So size does matter for us in our funding. So that's a little bit about, why we're there from a funding model. But really this consortium represents a lot more than that. Like Dan mentioned, institutions within Minnesota State colleges and universities are kind of all over the map on their engagement with concurrent enrollment. What is their involvement with faculty, whether or not the faculty support it, whether or not the funding works for them. We don't really make money on the classes themselves, but we do, again, look favorably at the funding formula that comes from the state, but also the long-term relationship that we develop with the school districts and the students. So for us, this consortium really is about how many balls can we keep in the air. Delivering concurrent enrollment is really a complicated factor. You've got your faculty at the college, you've got the high school faculty, you've got the administration from both sides. There are a number of policy issues that we have to deal with, not only from the system office, but also our accrediting body is really looking at concurrent enrollment significantly these days. And so we're trying to juggle all these things in the air at the same time while maintaining integrity in the program. And the more people that you engage with, the more difficult that becomes because of the different faculty units, the different administration. So for me, it's all about the relationships that we've built. I've been here about a year and a half now, and certainly one of my most important goals early on was to establish good relationships with our high school partners. And this partnership has really allowed for that, to focus on common goals, to work together. And so for me, the value to Anoka-Ramsey is really about the relationships and working together to provide the best experience for our students, given the fact that we're juggling all of these different factors. I've been meeting with our college faculty the last week, and they have differing opinions about the importance of concurrent enrollment. And we've been able to, I think, get on the same board, on the same page with our faculty, and really in promise of a long-term partnership with our school districts, the administration at the school districts, the faculty at the school districts, our faculty and administration all working together on the same page to deliver concurrent enrollment. And again, for me, it's about the relationship and working together. So I guess I turn it over now to Jeff. You want to talk about your school?
Good morning, everyone. So as I'm talking, I just want to also be clear that I'm not talking just about Spring Lake Park. Really, I'm representing all the other districts that have joined this consortium with Anoka-Ramsey, where Mounds really took the lead. So I see Peggy and Kathy sitting over here, and I know that they're a big part of this as well. But really, how does it benefit Spring Lake Park? And we've had a strategic initiative for a number of years now in our district for each, that's really about each and every one of our kids being college ready upon graduation. And this is, it's very aspirational in nature, and we may never exactly get there, but that's really what we're working for. And this may involve kids still going directly to the workplace, but we want that to be a choice, not a default, because that's the only choice available for them. We often talk about the achievement gap in our schools, which I really think is the wrong conversation. It's about the expectations gap and the opportunity gap, and I really feel like this consortium helps to address that by raising those expectations. And this morning, our keynote talked about building that college-going culture throughout your school district, and that's really important with this consortium. And I've already seen, even though we're not that far along with working with AR yet directly in Spring Lake Park, but just the idea within our community, when initially we started talking about this, whenever I would go out to community groups, there would be a lot of pushback on this idea of each student being college ready. And what this has really helped with, it's not just about Spring Lake Park. It's not just that we're crazy in Spring Lake Park to be doing this, because there's all of the surrounding districts that are involved with this same initiative. So that really helps to build that mindset throughout the community, because it's about more than just changing mindsets within the walls of the school. It's also about changing the mindsets within the community, at least in Spring Lake Park. That's something that we're really working towards. So again, we've really been working over the last few years in Spring Lake Park to build a continuum from the primary grades all the way to graduation and to support kids with that transition to college. This consortium helps us to build off of that relationship that Mounds View first established with the Anoka-Ramsey to ensure our students have that same access. It's going to allow us to partner with Mounds View and Fridley, Columbia Heights, et cetera, so that we're making sure that the address of the child, whether they live in the Mounds View district or Spring Lake Park, doesn't dictate the opportunities that they have. We want the kids to have those same opportunities regardless of their address. And again, this partnership's allowing us to do that, but it's also allowing us to enhance it, because one of the things we're already starting to talk about is where are some of those courses that some of us may not be able to run, may not get enough kids to enroll in our own district, but when we partner across districts, we can offer some additional courses. So we're really looking forward to it. We're kind of in those beginning stages of putting together some of those courses. Our goal ultimately is going to be that students will be able to earn an AA degree for those students who want to do that, and that's what we're working towards. So that's my part.
Just a couple words in terms of the consortium and what it means for Mounds View, because we've been engaged in this for 2 or 3 years. One of the key elements in this consortium is the issue of credentialing and how the teachers, how Anoka-Ramsey is going to view credentialing for teachers across all districts. And that's one of the things that I'd really like to underscore, which I think is going to be an advantage for all of us. It doesn't mean that it's any easier. The credentialing issue or credentialing question is still probably one of the greatest hurdles. But now there's one institution to work with, one institution that has its interpretation, which allows us to be able to do that much more, I think, effectively and much more efficiently. And then again, I'd just like to underscore our relationship with Anoka-Ramsey has been outstanding. It's the backbone of everything we've been doing around early college, all the concurrent enrollment. We'll have our first graduating class of kids at Irondale High School this spring that will have gone through their full career with the program there. Mounds View High School is in its second year. First graduating class there will be in 16. So by mid-year into the spring, we're going to have a much better handle on how many of our kids have reached Minnesota transfer curriculum, how many are in target for an AA, that sort of thing. But the relationship with AR, relationship with credentialing, I think the attitude, the mindset, as our speaker talked about earlier today, the mindset of kids. Well, I'll tell you, the mindset of faculty is more important than the mindset of kids in many ways. So the mindset of our faculty, influenced by the mindset of faculty at Anoka-Ramsey, has made for a great partnership. And how are we doing on time, by the way? We're good? Okay. This last slide, we just wanted to talk about some of the future implications. Kent was going to take the first two.
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, when we look at concurrent enrollment at Anoka-Ramsey, we look at it as a full program. And I think the tendency for colleges to engage in concurrent enrollment is on a piecemeal basis. Well, let's deliver a course there, we'll do a course there. And for me, that's a little too disjointed. And so what I'd like to see, and I think working in the future with this consortium, is really find opportunities to bring our faculties together, because they do represent the folks that are delivering the program, not just courses, but a full program based on our relationships and the success of both of our institutions, Anoka-Ramsey and those that represent the consortium. So for me, moving forward, I'd like to take this to the next level and really have true relationships where we get our faculty together, discuss things like grading and things like that, and how how courses can be better delivered. And our college faculty can learn from the high school faculty just as much as the other way around. And so those partnerships amongst the faculty will be critical moving forward too. I also think there's an opportunity for this partnership to deliver courses to school districts that maybe not be able to fill those classes like Jeff mentioned. And also we can look across the consortium for those faculty best credentialed to teach those classes in certain cases too. So for me, again, it's about the relationship. Once we get our folks together and move forward all on the same page with the same goals, really there's no limits to what we can do together. So I turn it back over.
And then a couple of other potential implications. One is, in looking at the whole issue of integration collaboratives and kind of where that is right now in the state, whether you look at it legislatively or you look at it from a funding perspective. If you really reframed that question and talked about career college ready for all kids, and if you looked at that across, it didn't matter if we're talking about white, brown, black, and if you looked at it from the standpoint of socioeconomic status, we feel that some of this work can really create an umbrella for integration work, which is really about that issue being the key one. How do we get all of our kids ready for college? How do we get all of our kids ready for whatever they choose to do, whether it's 2-year, 4-year, technical, it wouldn't matter. So we're still studying that. One of the reasons to do that is geography. We are all connected. The 6 districts that you saw were adjacent to one another, and we feel that there's some synergy that can come from that, both in terms of our work with this, but also our work around integration opportunities. Innovation zones, I'm not sure. Actually, Jeff has more experience with that, and I'm not sure if you'd like to make any comments about that or not.
So I'll be a little bit careful with where we go exactly with the innovation zone. Right now, we are part of an innovation zone, as many of you know, with Farmington, and there's opportunities within that to get some relief from some of the mandates. So I think we could explore what some of those are, but to be honest, one of the biggest benefits that we've seen with the innovation zone is just simply, again, that staff mindset, because there's so many fears so often. Educators by nature are largely compliance driven, and they want to know what the law is and want to be sure they're not violating any law. So sometimes just that innovation zone, that designation helps staff with that transition of moving forward with an innovation and moving forward with something different without any fear that they're violating some type of law. So that's where it's been helpful. But as we look at this, I think that's something we can explore as we start looking at, are there any aspects of moving forward, whether it be as a consortium or in our partnership with AR, that we might want some relief from some type of mandates or some type of legislation, and we can explore that innovation zone designation.
If there are any questions anyone has right now, I think we have time to do that rather than wait till the end. Does anybody have questions? And I think we just have to yell it out.
Sure.
Well, I'll let the folks here talk about the purpose of the high school. That's a little beyond me, but the credentialing issue continues to evolve. There is a push. There's a group within the state college and university system to look deeper at credentialing. We at Anoka-Ramsey have taken an interpretation of that, which is also not all others do, but we look to the master's degree, and we look to we need a master's in field. We look to the development plan, and we work with the school districts to put the faculty on a development plan that do not have the master's in field, or at least 16 credits. So it's about working together to have a plan to make sure the faculty are moving down that path. But there are other institutions that take a full, literal, if you don't have the credentialing, you can't do it. And so the policy right now is open to development plans and working together. And these guys can talk about it, but I think our goal most typically is to hire credentialed faculty with masters in field or at least 16 credits. And if that's not available, then look to other development plans, and I know Dan's for sure is pretty committed to that. So there is a range, there's a continuum. We will kind of get a test of our policy and credentialing next week when we have a site visit from our accrediting body for the Mounds View, Irondale school districts to kind of put that to a test. But it is highly variable, and we are looking for some consistency across the system. So, does that answer your question?
Just a question, do you have consistency within your college, between your departments, in terms of what they would honor as a credential?
Well, ultimately, the credential that is expected is the master's in field. So we work with the school districts to work towards that. It's, you know, you can have 16 graduate credits related to the field, but it is kind of all over the place, but we're working together. I think the big thing is to engage our faculty in dialogue and to connect the faculty with the high school faculty. So stay tuned on that one, but it is a challenge and we're working towards it. So, do you want to talk about?
I think the credentialing, if I can just step on that for a second, I think the question around credentialing would be a great question for the panel at noon today, because it is all over the block. But again, I think what AR has done is not move the goalpost. Where the goalposts were 5 years ago, 4 years ago, they're still there. And that's, I think, whether we like it or not, we found ways to work with it, but at least we know where they are. Around the culture issue in the high school, I think you not only change the culture at the high school, I think you change the culture at the middle school. I think the speaker earlier was spot on. If you wait till 9th and 10th grade, you can't do. It's really difficult to do an aggressive, comprehensive, concurrent enrollment program. You have to start at the middle school because you have to start identifying the kids in the middle and what they're going to need in terms of acceleration to be ready to take the more rigorous courses. So whether it changes the mission of the high school, I'm not sure. What it does is it certainly changes the work and certainly changes the perspective of the staff and how they view their work.
Okay, we'll move on. For more information, you have the contact information, so feel free to contact them with further questions. And let's give this group a round of applause for their presentation. Thank you.